Hello and welcome. Well, today, what an ideal topic. Voiceless voices. And that's what we are talking about today. Voiceless voices. Now, we in the media are supposed to champion the cause of those who don't have a voice. So it is deemed that we have a voice to speak for those who don't have it. But last Thursday, I think the story was otherwise, where we are now asking who is going to speak for us. What is it? There's a team of journalists who would normally accompany the president to wherever he's going and then report to us what he's doing, which is very necessary because the president represents us all. Now, they are apparently treated differently. On their way back from home, they were asked to join another bus, which in all fairness was not fit enough. An accident happened, and a needless, very sad death happened where Samuel Nyama, one of us, lost his soul because of this bus. Now, it could have easily been avoided. But here we are as a people, we have lost our spirit of never again. Indeed, once upon a time, there was another Times reporter who was reporting something at the Independence Square. He got slapped around by some policemen. Did we then jump up and down enough to defend our cause? Maybe not. A few other media people have been roughened up. Did we get up enough? Maybe not. And now this faces us. With the spirit of never again lost among us, are we going to sit and wait for this incident to happen again? Or are we going to say this is the last straw, at least in the memory of our dear brother, to say it will never, ever happen again? If you need us to report something, treat us as equals, indeed, as very much equals. And that's what we are talking about today. When I come back from my break, I am talking to David Agbenyu, who is the senior editor for Times. Indeed, is a father that's lost a dear son. And I'm talking to also Aisha Ibrahim from Joy News correspondent, who rose in this correspondence, this circles. So she's also lost a brother. My name is Nana Sakwa, and this is PM Express. I'm coming right back. Thank you very much for staying, and we are talking about voiceless voices. We in the media now are calling for a voice on our behalf. Isn't that ironic? Instead of us giving a voice to the voiceless. But I think the right way to start is, let me reintroduce David Agbenyu, who's the editor for the Ghanaian Times, and Samuel Nyama, basically worked with him, for him, under him, but worked together. So he must know him more than all of us. And I think it's only fair that he says some kind words on his behalf before we start. So, David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll begin by saying that what I'm going to say is not kind words because Nyama is no longer here.
Sure.
If he were to be around, I'll have been saying the same thing. Our brother Nyama was a pillar in the newsroom. A pillar in the sense that he's one of our flawless reporters. He would go at any length to bring you the kind of stories you want, anywhere in the world. And we depended on him so much so that when we know that he's on assignment, we would have to wait. Whether the stories would keep production waiting, we'll still have to wait. Such is the confidence that we have in him, that we kept him at the Flagstaff House / Castle for the past 8 years. He came as a cub reporter to the Ghanaian Times from school. After finishing his national service, he was employed. And since then, he's been reporting from the presidency. Samuel will not hurt a fly because he's unassuming and is such a quiet guy. but very hardworking. You will not give him any assignment and he will frown. He would always want to help. And I fondly remember him for one thing he did that I will never, never, ever forget. As an editor, I find that singular thing that he did very, very striking, and as if he wanted to use that to say goodbye to me. And this is the story. I was to travel to Egypt for a 2-week program. And before then, I'd spoken to him about a female military officer who was reported to have saved the president whilst he was traveling from Sunyani to Kumasi on a helicopter. Another person drew my attention to the fact that nobody knows that lady and that Ghanaians will be interested in knowing the female pilot. So I called Sami and told him that, look here, I know that you are busy. I know that you are the presidency. But once you reported that the female saved the president, I want you to go back there and interview her. Then he told me that we have to send a letter to the DPR, that's the Public Relations Directorate of the Armed Forces, before they will allow him to interview the lady. And I said, why? He said, well, that is the practice. So I said, okay, I'm traveling. Go and draft the letter. Bring it for me to sign. He did. I looked at it and signed. I left. When I left, unknown to me, he did not forget about the assignment. In my absence, he did a story and sent me a text and said, sir, I'll finish with the assignment. I've written the story. What should I do next? I said, okay, go back to my deputy and tell my deputy that this is the assignment I've given to you and that you finish. I was surprised because many journalists would have forgotten about the assignment once I was gone. But he did it and even sent me a text to inform me that he has finished. And the story was published. That was one singular, fantastic story he wrote. Indeed, in addition to what he told me, he said to me that he wants to go on holidays in the US. That when I came back, he wants to take his leave to join the wife for a few days. I said, okay. I came back on a Saturday. Monday, I reported for work. Monday, I didn't see him. Tuesday, I didn't see him. Wednesday, I didn't see him because he was on the road covering the president. Then Thursday, he was gone.
Wow.
This is the singular story I will never, never, ever forget in my life.
Wow.
That is Sami that we're talking about.
How are you dealing with it, David?
I don't know. I have no clue how I'm going to deal with it, but I guess he wants us to continue from where he left. He wants us to be better. He wants us to do better things in his memory. And that I intend to pursue.
Aisha, my sister, first time on the show, welcome. I don't even know if I have to introduce Aisha to you, but I'm sure you've all seen Aisha, reading the news and everything. My colleague, my sister. Aisha, did you know Sami yourself? Or?
Very well. We were very close. And like David just said, he wants her to fly. Sami is a very quiet gentleman, and like he said once again, he's very committed to his job. He's very nice to everyone. He's jovial. When we go to the presidency, Sami, he will crack all the jokes. He will make all of us laugh and all of that. But once he starts writing his story, you can say all the things in this world and he will not even look at you. He's busily writing his story. Until he's done with his story, you won't get Sammy to talk to you. Wow. That is the kind of person Sammy was. And I keep on saying that if I was on that bus, I am very sure I'll be seated next to Sammy. Because even at the Flagstaff House, if we go there, he would sit by me. And if he comes and somebody has occupied the space close to me, he says, Aisha, let's go to the back. Let's go and sit at the back. And he himself and Napoleon Atukito, they will always put me in between them. And then Napoleon will say, when I become the president, I'll make you ambassador to India. You know, then it is so interesting. So I don't know how to take this, but I must say that losing Sammy is a blow to the media fraternity. Such a fine journalist, committed to his job. All I can say is that we pray that he finds peaceful rest in the bosom of his maker. We will miss him so much.
David, this is such a needless loss. I say this because when I first saw pictures of the bus, even without going close to assess it and everything, it just did not look, apt. You just found out how did this bus find itself into the presidential convoy? It was later until I realized that, apparently the bus was hired. And now we hear the stories that, it's the usual where sort of the reporters are second-class citizens or second-class staffers around the presidency. Have we brought it upon ourselves?
This is the area of the tragedy I'm hesitant to talk about. I'm hesitant to talk about it for many reasons. Because I've walked down that road before. I was for a very long time also the castle correspondent as a young reporter. So I've experienced a lot of the hazards involved in covering the presidency. You may encounter many things, many accidents on the road. But as a soldier, you move on. You move on because that is your calling. That is what you have been called to do, and in the interest of the nation. Now, if by doing so, you may have to go by a certain means, and the means have been provided, you may have little or no say in the kind of means that are given to you. Because normally, the defense they'll put up is that, well, you were sent by your media house, and this is what we have to offer. But I can say, with all the knowledge I have in that area, that some time ago, whilst we were there, our security and our safety was paramount. Paramount in the sense that we will not be giving a driver who is not trained, who is not trained in defensive driving, who is not trained in protocol driving, who is not trained in security driving. We will not be giving a vehicle that is not roadworthy, that is not strong enough to travel a very long distance in a robust manner, just to keep up the pace in a convoy. I don't know the condition of this vehicle that we are talking about in the absence of any evidence from the security agencies or whoever will test the vehicle. I am hesitant to talk about it because it may cloud the death of our dear brother it may send the whole argument in another direction and we'll lose focus on what we have to do for our dear brother. Sami's death is too much a blow for me to divert my attention to talk about these issues. I'm not saying that these issues are not important. They are very, very important. And moving forward, I think those are the things we would have to be talking about. And coming back to your main question, whether we deserve much more than what we are getting, I would say that in all this, what we have to realize is that we have a calling. And the calling is to inform the public, entertain them, and educate them. Our calling did not say that we should go and seek things that will be in only our interests. But in view of what is happening, both locally and globally, I think we should begin to rethink our calling. Our calling should come with security. Our calling should come with some safety.
Aisha, I mean, amongst you, and I like the way, you guys are playing, having a laugh and having a joke amongst yourself, because there's quite a few journalists that are picked to do that work, probably exactly. 30, if not even more than that. Yeah. So you are the special breed. But amongst you, I mean, is there that unity where you can stand up and say, look, guys, let's refuse this meal because it's too cold, or let's not sit there because we don't have enough shade there or something? I mean, would you get the support of people if one person stood up and said, look, I don't think this is right, we shouldn't accept it?
I think that's something we should work at, because sitting back and watching, think that we're lacking in that area. Because like you rightly said, we are the voice of the voiceless. So how come we don't have the voice to speak for ourselves? It's a pity, and sometimes I begin to wonder, and I ask myself whether some of our colleagues are not in the right profession. Maybe they should be thinking of doing some accountancy or something, because you cannot be speaking for others when you yourself, your right is being trampled upon. I say this because sometimes you realize that there are things that are hurting us, and all of us can sit down and agree that, listen, this cannot continue. We must speak about it. And then we agree that we'll do A, B, C. And then the time comes and everybody is pulling out. I don't want to be part of it. And sometimes you even find out that the same people you sat down and talked about this, they go behind you and go and tell whoever was committing what offense and you were talking about, go and tell those people, and then they begin to victimize you. And so I think it is something we need to work at. Sami's death is a wake-up call for all of us, that until we realize that we have the voice, we have the power, we need to fight for ourselves. Nobody will fight for us. And I want to refer you to that adage, that it's the way you price your product is how people will buy. If you price it higher, people will buy it higher. If you price it lower and you want to succumb to anything that goes, just like that, whilst you know that it's not the right thing, that's how people will buy. And so I'm not surprised that we are in this dilemma. And until we begin to think of getting out of this and let people know our worth, we'll continue to suffer this trauma.
I mean, David, going forward, you still need to send another soldier to go and fill in, Sami's place. So, what do you tell him? Listen, look at the car, look at the vehicle, look at where you sit, and if no, come back or soldier on for God and country. What do you tell the next soldier?
I think that it's obvious now to everybody who is at the presidency that there got to be a change. There got to be a new direction as to how journalists that are sent to the presidency are treated. I'm not sure anybody is happy about what has happened. And I'm not sure anybody will wish that it happens again. And I don't think that whatever I tell who I'm sending back there will be the answer. Rather, the message should go to the people who manage them at the presidency, that there got to be a new direction. Because if they don't, those we send there might rebel. And it will not be in anybody's interest. After all, if you don't have journalists to cover assignments at the presidency, nothing gets heard but the Ghanaian public. So my thinking would rather be that by now, some other ways are being found to handle the journalists better. I mean, we are not the ones who will be talking. The members themselves, the press corps and the presidency, are themselves talking. And it shouldn't take me to tell them what they should be doing. I guess what they will need from us as leaders is the support for them to have things change. And that we are ready to give them.
I mean, maybe I should have asked David this question, but let me ask you, Aisha. I mean, why do you guys follow the president around? If he's going to Kumasi and he gets to Kumasi, you know, there's Erastus there to, you know, report whatever it is and send it to us. He went to Cape Coast, there's somebody there. So, I mean, why do you get carted about? Because very rarely do we get a report where you guys did a one-on-one interview with the president. It's always covering what happened there and the general speech which the president gave. So, I mean, why are you following him up and down?
Well, I think that it's protocol. And mostly we have some procedures and rules that we follow at the presidency. And so I want to believe that probably the correspondents in our various regions may not have that kind of training or may not know what procedures and what to do and what not to do at the presidency before you land into trouble. And so that is why you can also ask the question that why is it that in Parliament it's not just anybody who goes to Parliament, but there are some selected people who go there because they understand what's going on there and they know the do's and don'ts of that place. And that is why it is appropriate that the one who really knows the terrain rather goes to cover than just any other person.
In addition to that, it's a constitutional mandate for the media to provide the presidency or the government some space in the media to tell its story and to get a feedback from the public.
Before you learn, I can understand parliamentary protocol and Flagstaff House protocol that we place somebody in Flagstaff House and Parliament to report. But if the president decided to go to WHO, I mean, there are 101 reporters in WHO waiting to report.
And you know, sometimes it's a follow-up to something that's been happening at the Flagstaff House. And because probably you have been following what is going on at the Flagstaff House, it will give you the opportunity to be able, I mean, you have so much on that topic, which has already started. The reporter in the region may not have that background. And so if
9 out of 10 times they are opening a KVIP, they are opening a water pump, they are opening a street light. You know, surely Erastus or, you know, Ivy Satoji can say, yeah, the president came, he's opening the KVIP. You know,
I think a few times it has happened when the correspondent is not able to go. I mean, if the presidential correspondent has not been able to go, the regional correspondent steps in, but that has been the norm.
Yes, but in addition, it is not only happening in Ghana. It happens all over the world. All presidents will have a press call for reasons that Aisha alluded to, and others like knowing the president's line of thought, what the president thinks about a certain subject. It makes it easier for reportage. And also, there are certain ethics that you pick up reporting from a particular beat. And it makes the work much more easier if you have particular people that will understand the issues and report in those areas. That is why you will always want to put your very, very best reporters in those areas. You will think that it is easy to just say that the president should go to Ho, for instance, and people are there to cover. But mind you, the president is provided with the best of everything: cameras, recorders, journalists, and others. Maybe your reporter in Ho might not be as good as the reporter who follow him to Ho, and vice versa. So it has several reasons why people will be assigned to the presidency and follow the president.
There's a tribute from Seth Kwanwati, but before we play that, let me come to David and find out. You see, if you go to the other, Western world, as you say, normally, like on the way back, they get like a one-on-one with the president, like, what was the atmosphere? Do you think we did enough? And then they get some sort of exclusive, which was not the general speech which the president read. And then but we don't get that from you guys a lot, where on the way back, maybe all said, look, Mr. President, maybe somebody was booing you at home. How did you feel?
Yeah.
Or they were very excited. Would you give them more?
Yeah.
We don't get that.
Well, sometimes you get the opportunity to speak with the president, even if it's not on record. You get additional information that can help
because
you.
you followed him.
That will help you to write your story. If you're a newspaper, you don't need to see the president talking or on the microphone, or you don't need him recorded before you know that you had a tete-a-tete with the president. What it means is that when you are part of the press corps, the president feels comfortable with you. You can go close to him rather than the regional correspondent who he doesn't know, or even the people around him, the protocol. Anybody, a regional correspondent can't just walk to them and start asking them questions. But because we've become like a family, it's easy for you to go the extra mile to get what you want, which the regional correspondent may not have the opportunity to get.
Let's hear what Seth has to say about his brother.
My sympathies to the family of Samuel Nuama. I know that guy very well. He's fun to be with, seriously. He's hard working, always cracking jokes, joking with us all. And also I pray that God heals the rest, those who have been hospitalized. It's serious, and I was asking myself, what happened? How come on that day you didn't go with them? I've been asking myself so many questions, and I would have been on that same bus.
The MD has made certain comments or passed very critical comments that I wouldn't want to points that I wouldn't want to belabor. But as a matter of fact, in our society, tradition demands that when the elderly person speaks, nobody else does. But with your permission again, we know that Sami Nuama, most of all, has contributed what he could to national development. We worked closely with him. We know the decency and alacrity with which he carried out his duties. And for that matter, we are convinced that he has written his name on tablets of gold. We want to state here that we are simply unhappy with the way certain media persons and media houses are trying to do the bidding of their paymasters. capitalizing on this unfortunate accident. We wouldn't say, neither shall we even dare say that there is an institution, human institution as it may be, that is perfect in its ways. I have stated that the accident was baseless, it was needless, but let us not go too much into it. He has paid the highest price, unfortunately. We only pray that the media will let sleeping dogs lie. Ethically, it is not proper. What I would describe as an anathema, ethically, let us not do this to our own brother and friend. Let us consider the sensitivities of his wife and the entire family and desist from making political capital out of this. Please, we pray that his soul will repose in the bosom of our Father in heaven.
Indeed, he has paid the ultimate price. But let's go right on the phone and speak to Nuto Bibini Nuto, who's the Dean of the Presidential Press Corps. Bibini, hello and welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
This is a big blow, and you know how the Presidential Corps is dealing with this. I don't know, because you all seem to be like one big family, and one is just needlessly left the family. Bibini, do I still have you, or I've dropped the call? Hello?
Again.
Oh, you're there.
Sorry.
Good. Bibini, I just want you to say, something, just a little bit of what has happened, and then we see what the way forward is going to be, since you are the Dean of the Presidential Press Corps.
Well, what is there to talk about? The unfortunate accident has happened. Accidents do happen on a daily basis. We pray they never happen to any of us, but they do happen. And if it is the will of God, they will happen. There are domestic accidents, there are industrial accidents, there are road accidents, blah, 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 blah. And the accident that did happen on that fateful Thursday was one of those. Nobody prays for an accident to happen.
You don't think that it could have been prevented?
Well, how can you prevent something that, if you, for better or for want of a better narration or description, has been designed by God? I believe that everything that happens for a purpose. I think that some human errors that will lead to certain accidents could be prevented. For instance, if it's a domestic accident, a kitchen accident, or those forms of accident or nature of accident. But there's a road accident, and I'm sure if you sit in your car, before you sit in your car, you check your engine, you check your fuel level, you check your water level, you check your fuel, you think everything is fine with your battery, you move. You pray to God and you move. But what God wills is what happens. I mean, this is just one of those accidents. In this case, yes, and in this case, it is happening to a crew or a media team that works for the state at the seat of government, and that is why this particular accident has been, if you like, blown out of proportion.
Well, let me pick you from blown out of proportion. This is somebody who was dedicated his life to report state issues, so that's definitely a national service or national calling. Now, if the driver had been experienced and the car had been fit, wouldn't we have drastically reduced this accident?
You see, the reason I keep insisting that this is one of those accidents that one cannot foresee, let alone forestall, is that we have history in this country. Our former president's convoys have involved in various accidents. I mean, let us not go into those memories because they are not too good. I mean, His Excellency the President had an accident. I mean, nobody expected it. The man was going to work, and it didn't happen. Okay? I also understand that former President Rawlings was involved in an accident. Not, I mean, his convoy, not him, his car per se. And we are also aware that the late President that was convoy from Bulsa North also involved.
Kennedy got shot. So, I mean,
this is one of those accidents. So long as it's a human institution, someone might unfortunately involved in an accident. And this one did happen. My point is that, yes, Nana, he served the state.
Did he not deserve a better driver in a better car?
Say again?
You don't think he deserved a better driver in a better car?
Who determines who is a better car? Who is a better driver? Who determines what is a better car?
Under the conditions they drive, would you say it's a normal, any average driver could do that journey? I mean, you've done the journey before. Is it for an average driver or a train driver?
That particular journey normally is done by a trained driver. Okay.
Yeah.
It's normally done by a trained driver, and this particular one, obviously, was done by a trained driver, because if the driver is not trained, I don't believe that he will be given the opportunity to sit behind the steering wheel to drive.
You're saying the driver they hired at the bus stop was a protocol, defensive, and security driver?
I do not know. You Nana, are insisting or telling me that he was hired from a bus station. I do not know. I do not know, and so I can't attest to that. I can't corroborate that. But you are telling me now, Nana.
Well, the bus was rented. I mean, that's the news that's out, that the bus was rented from Ho to Accra. And I don't think there's a protocol driver, security driver standing by in Ho, waiting for a press call to come and rent it.
And I see, when issues of this nature do occur, you are likely to get people to have their own versions, and this is one of those. I want to believe that those who claim that that driver was hired at Ho should be able to come out to
well, Omani Boama has stated clearly that it wasn't a presidential.
But did he go further to say that he was hired at Ho bus station, Nana? I mean, we are brothers. We are all in this business together. If someone wants to pull certain strings, it can be done easily. But my point is that let us stay within the remit or the ambit of facts, and not just be postulating certain guesses and people want to make a lot of capital out of this.
Okay, quickly.
This is simply not good.
Bibini, quickly, I mean, do you know where that vehicle and the driver came from? Do you have any idea at all?
I do not know, but what I know is that it is under investigation.
It's under investigation. Bibini, thank you very much. I need to pause here and go for a break, and then when I come back, I'll join my guests in the studio. Don't move at all. Voiceless Voices, a very, very sad day, a very sad incident for the Inky fraternity, as Jennifer Jane will put it. But let me go straight to the phone and speak to George Sapon, who's Executive Secretary for National Media Commission. Hello, George, and welcome.
Thank you, brother.
George, it's a very sad incident that makes me call you today, but because of timing, I just want to go straight to say, what will be the way forward? And not only the presidency, but generally, when media people turn up at events, you are treated as, second-class citizens or outcasts. Is it because our habit of collecting solely, or I mean, what is it that, makes us, backdoor citizens?
It's a very difficult thing. First of all, I think that it's in order that we all console the new family of our brother in the circumstance of this issue, and also to wish all our colleagues still in hospital a speedy recovery. But I think that we need to have the humility to admit certain truths. Nana, in my village, they say that if you turn yourself into a leaf, any passing good may chew you. And therefore, if we get a feeling that people treat us that way, it appears to me that we also need to look inward a bit. How have we carried out our work? How have we carried our own selves? How have we practiced this profession? It is not to make any excuse for anybody, but if we go for assignments and create the impression that we are not for the assignment, but for matters related to the assignment and inuring to our personal benefit, we are likely to get people to treat us in a particular way. That is one. That is no justification for anybody who would not treat journalists well. The next thing is that, for Christ's sake, we are there, we are covering assignments only for two reasons. One is that the organizers believe that our support is useful for our work. And we also believe that it is good for our business and for our profession. So there's a certain mutual benefit involved in that. And thirdly, that we owe the citizenry. The citizenry have a right to information, and we owe it to them to provide the information. So this bundle of values should conduce us to a certain principle that all of us should stand by. One is that organizers of events that require media coverage must make decent and adequate, what do you call it?
Provision?
Facilities available to us to enable us to do our work. And when we go, we also have a responsibility to our own selves, to our profession, and to the people of Ghana. Also to demonstrate that indeed we are there for the work and not for anything else. So it appears to me that it's a bundle of issues, but above all, it is important that we place the bigger responsibility where it is. Our employers bear the greatest responsibility in ensuring that we have good and a safe system of work.
George, round it up in a minute for me.
Pardon me?
I said, round it up in a minute for me, please.
So in a minute, what I'm trying to say is that there's a certain shared responsibility that all of us need to live up to. But above all, the bigger responsibility is on us. We have every right to refuse any assignment if we get the feeling that we are not adequately treated with the respect that we deserve. But we also need to carry out our profession in dignity and with respect.
George, thank you very, very much. And then I'll come to you, Aisha. Well, your president seems to think that it's a normal accident. It could have happened any day. It's God ordained, and we are blowing it out of proportion.
I don't think we're blowing it out of proportion. My issue has been the fact that we're not talking about that single accident, but we're talking about generally journalists, how we've been treated. And you will agree with me that if we are indeed the voice for the voiceless, we need to speak about some of these things that affect us.
Let me give the last word to David. My time is up now. David, 30 seconds. I don't know if you can say anything.
Well, I just want to say that I wish all our colleagues who are in hospital speedy recovery. And to all our members, I wish to announce that we are going to hold Sammy's, observe Sammy's 1 week at the International Press Center on Saturday. And we invite everybody to come.
Is it Press Center or
Press Center?
British Council?
No, we were taking it to
the Press Center. That's Saturday. That's Saturday. So we have to keep reminding you so that we all meet there. And for a worthy God, at least let us get our spirit of never again back so it doesn't happen again. Folks, I know we needed more time to talk about this, but we've run out of time. I want to say thank you very much to Tanti's Fashion, who makes my shirts. And you can read Tanti's on 024 366-2001. 024-366-2001. Production is Evans Mensa, Malik, Jennifer Jane. Direction is by Azalu, who's shouting in my ear that now your time is up. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. David, thank you. Aisha, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.